Hey friends, it's Jennifer. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm back today with card 10. If you want to see how I'm doing my cards this year, I will link that video in the top of the description or the top of the cards here so that you can see it. But let's get started. I did go back to the prompts again this month and I drew out two, it says pocket and junk mail. I drew out two prompts. And so I'm going to start by taking some gesso, white gesso, and I'm just going to lay a coat down on this card. You don't have to use gesso, you can use paint. A couple of coats of paint will cover up the card, but this time I'm going to use gesso because I like grit on my cards, and I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. And I'm just going over back with whatever I have left on my paintbrush for the gesso, and I'm just going to apply the rest of it. And now the only other rules for the month of March is that I want it to be, the color's going to be green, a green theme. And so I'm using this green-gray paint color, and I'm just going to give the card a quick little coat here. And I'm going to dry this down with my heat gun. And I'm going to give it another little coat. And I'm going to dry it with my heat gun as well. And so you can see it gives some texture and it gives grit. Using gesso gives some grit to the card, and I really like that. And so now I'm going to take my Crop-A-Dile and I'm just going to round the corners on each side of this cereal box card. And so our prompt was junk mail. So I have this, I think it's an Ulta magazine, and they just lay around my house all the time, little junk mail like this. And I'm just flipping through here to try to find something that I want to use. And I really like this front cover with all of these different colors on it. So I'm just going to take my tearing ruler and I'm just going to tear off some right there. And I'm thinking that I'm just going to use this as a ruffle. Maybe ruffle it up under my sewing machine and use it on the edge of the paper. So I'm just going through and folding it just so it'll go through my sewing machine a little bit easier. And I'm just going to sew it up. And so here it is. I just did a stitch down the middle, and I'm just going to trim off a little bit of the edges just to make it a little bit skinnier. I don't want it to cover my card entirely, but I'm just going to attach that with some glue. First, I'm going to ink around the edges. You can ink around the edges after you get it down, but it will be harder. So I always try to ink first. And I've just got some sewing clips here, and I'm just going to hold it down with some sewing clips until it dries. And I'm just going to go back and try to ruffle up those edges right there. I'm just using my awl here, and I'm just going in between each one and kind of opening up those edges a little bit just to give it a little bit more visual appeal from the top, I guess is what you would say. And now I've got some embroidery thread, got a couple of colors of green, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to take this color and I'm going to wrap around the edges a couple of times and just make a cute little bow. And I'm just going to use my hot glue gun just to put a little drop of glue there just to hold that down in place. And now I'm going to snip those ends and just untwist the edges there to separate those threads individually, just to give it a more volume on the ends where you can just see it looks like pieces of thread there. So now I've got some green paper, and I'm just going to tear off a little piece here, and I'm going to ink around the edges, and I'm actually going to stamp on this paper that it's card number 10. And I'm thinking I'm going to use this inside the pocket, to put inside the pocket on the page, on the card, I'm sorry. And so I'm just going to stamp out with my alphabet stamp the word card, C-A-R-D, and then 10. And so now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and just sew around it. There you can see. And I've decided on this scrap piece of paper to use for the pocket. And it also has hearts on it, which I'm putting a heart on everything that I do this year to remind me to love myself and love others. And so since this already had a heart on it, I was kind of sold, and it was green. So I'm just tearing this out, and I'm going to ink around the edges just to make a little pocket. And I'm going to glue down the 3 sides, the 2 sides and the bottom, just a little bit of glue there, and then maybe fit that that card number 10 piece of paper inside of it as the pocket. So while I'm waiting on that to dry, I'm just going to outline a heart that's already on this piece of paper. Just outline it a couple times there. So I'm going to sew around it with my sewing machine. And I'm going to ink all the way around the card. And this is still fitting a little tight, so I'm just going to tear off a little bit of it and re-ink it to see if it will fit better in that pocket. And it does. So here it is. My beautiful little card with the junk mail and the pocket in green. And of course I wrote on the back. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it gives you some inspiration to make your own cards. Thanks for watching. See you next time.